Hi, my name is Rosanne and I'm going to guide you through a somatic yoga practice. And what that invites you is a space to explore your body and how that feels to be in your body. So from my training of trauma-informed yoga and somatic movement education, kind of combined the two together in what made sense to be somatic yoga. The practice of yoga that I share is a lot about relaxation or coming into your body and noticing what that feels like to be you. Somatic movement education was exploring the patterns in our body and how we hold tension. So combining them together brings a practice that invites you to explore how it feels to be in your body, the tension that we hold, how our posture is, the way that we hold our body. And so this practice invites you to be curious, explore. This practice isn't suitable for pregnant women as I'm not prenatal trained, as there may be poses where you'll be laying on your back for a while or that you're squeezing and tensing your core. So I'd advise not suitable for pregnant women. Throughout the practice, if you are confused, that is a normal part of the practice, so don't worry. I'd say that the more that you practice, the more that you start to build that neural pathway to specific areas of the body, the more that'll become familiar to you. As always, take the practice within your own pace. Listen to your body, and if you're not sure, do less. If you're not sure, take a pause to observe. If you're not sure, that's also okay. It is helpful to have blankets or cushions or props, so perhaps have them nearby just in case you need them. And while in somatic movement education, you don't tend to demonstrate, for the purpose of these practice, I will be demonstrating, but I'd really invite you to explore what does that feel like in your body rather than copying exactly what I'm doing. So it's more about your felt sense experience, your interoception. What does it feel like in your body, where you feel tension, release. So really invite that curiosity to go within. So when you're ready, we'll start in Shavasana and I'll meet you there. So arriving into Shavasana, you might choose to have your legs extended. You might pop a cushion or bolster underneath your thighs. You might have your hands rest on your body, or arms rest out to the side. Begin to notice what it feels like to be reclined. How do your shoulders feel, your back, neck, hips, sides of the body, belly, chest. Invite your awareness into the movement of your breath, noticing, is your breath shallow, deep? Do you feel movement at your belly, chest, as you breathe? Bring your awareness down into the legs, the feet, noticing how they feel. And we'll take a check-in here as we explore the kosha, so the layers of our being. Rating your physical comfort at the moment. So if you imagine a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being most comfortable, 1 being least, where would you rate your physical comfort? Not sure is also an answer and information. Rating your emotional comfort, 1 to 10, 10 being most comfortable or at ease, 1 being least. Not sure, also an answer. And your mental comfort, 1 to 10, 10 being most comfortable, 1 being least. Not sure, also an answer. And start to bring your awareness to your breath. And you might place a hand where your ribcage meets. You might place a hand onto the chest or lower onto your belly. Placing your hands at your ribcage, noticing what happens when you breathe in and when you breathe out. Perhaps do you feel the expansive nature of your inhale, perhaps pressing out or down. And when you breathe out, you might feel that muscle relax, your diaphragm relax, soften, feeling that draw back to your center. See if you can access belly breathing, an extension of noticing that sensation at your diaphragm. So when we breathe in, we're feeling the belly expand. And when we breathe out, we feel the belly soften. Our diaphragm, the sheet of muscle that goes across our torso. When we inhale, that diaphragm muscle contracts and presses down, creating space for the lungs to expand. And when we exhale, that muscle relaxes and presses up to draw the air out. Perhaps what do you notice about the habits of your breathing here? Do you tend to tighten your belly and puff up your chest when you breathe in? When you inhale and exhale, is there little to no movement at the belly? Just as much as you can, expanding into the belly, and just notice what information you get. We'll say one more breath here. On your next inhale, we'll start to wriggle the fingers and wriggle the toes, and whenever you feel ready, extend into the arms and legs, taking a full body stretch. Maybe notice the tension there and that release when you're ready to draw the knees in. So when we're sedentary, perhaps when you've been sleeping, having a nap, or sat at your desk, you will naturally want to extend the arms, take a stretch. You tense into the muscles that want to reset. So it's called pendiculation or pendiculating. And it's a natural way that we reset resting tension. So that's something that we will be exploring today. On your next inhale, let's extend the legs and we'll point and flex into the feet, noticing what does that movement feel like when you're moving your feet. Exhale, we'll place the feet down, taking the feet about hip width and placing your hands onto your lower belly and underneath you if you would like. So a lot of the time through the practice, if you're not sure about what you're feeling, it's helpful to use your hands since there's lots of sensory nerves there and can give us that feedback. So when you're ready, we're going to take a deep belly breath in, let the belly expand. And then exhale, we're going to draw the belly button in, engage with our abdominals and press into the floor. So if your hand is beneath you, you're going to feel your fingertips squish. So you're going to press your back into the ground. On your next inhale or exhale, you're going to slowly soften that tension at the abdominals and release back to neutral spine. Noticing any sudden jerks, jumps or shakes. So you're welcome to keep your hand underneath you and repeating that. Deep belly breath in, relax the abdominals as you inhale. And then exhale, draw navel in. Pull the belly button down to the floor, flatten the back towards the ground, squishing your fingertips if they're underneath you. Notice where you feel that abdominal engagement. And then inhale or exhale, breathe as you need to. Release as you soften the belly, returning back to neutral. And doing that again, deep belly breath in. Exhale, flatten. And this time noticing, what does your chin want to do? And if it's not already, start to draw the chin up towards the sky. Slowly, when you're ready, breathing as you need to, you're going to release. As slow as you can. Return to neutral, rest as much as you can there. Deep belly breath in. This will be our last one. Exhale to flatten. You might press with the heels this time. Again, notice what your chin does if it's not already. Lift it up. And notice what your shoulders do. Can you perhaps feel them pulling off the floor, pulling forward? Slowly breathing as you need to. Release. Taking as many breaths as you can to soften, or as you'd like to soften, so you release back to neutral. Feel free to stay where you are, slide the legs out. You might place the hands back onto the belly or the diaphragm. Taking a deep belly breath in and out, and just noticing if there's any change, perhaps an ease of breath, or maybe more movement at your belly. And you're welcome to stay still here, or maybe bend into the knees and sway the knees side to side. Just noticing what feels new or different there in your body. From there, we're going to bend into the knees once again, feet about hip width, and we'll take our right leg up, holding the back of the thigh. And all we're going to do here is bend the knee and extend it. And you're just noticing what changes there in your thigh, your knee, your hamstrings when you're extending and bending the knee. Feel free to close your eyes. So when our eyes are open, we constantly take in information. So perhaps when you close your eyes, you're focusing in, what do you feel in your right leg as we're moving it? Where is that point of extra effort to extend the leg? What changes there in your hamstring, your knee, your thigh? And there's no rush. You're going to slide that left leg out, release the right foot, placing it as close towards that left leg. And you're going to place your left hand onto that left hip, your right hand at the hip crease. And again, we're just using our hands as sensory feedback. And just as much as you can, trying to keep that left hip down, you're going to draw that right knee out. As soon as that left hip starts to lift up, you're going to stop. And then bringing that knee back up. And you might do that with breath. Inhale, knee draws out. Exhale, knee draws back up. And just noticing, what information do you receive there about your hips? Maybe at the fingertips, or maybe you feel it at your hips. Where is it that you start to feel into that stretch? And the next time that you draw the knee out to the side, where do you feel that sensation of stretch? And again, it doesn't have to look exactly what I'm doing, as you will feel this differently. And then you're going to bring that knee just a little bit higher than where you feel that stretch and gently pulse. Just small little movements. Notice any jumps, shakes or jerks. Remembering to breathe, to try not to hold your breath. And then on your next exhale, we're going to slowly draw that knee out to the side, as far as that wants to go. Notice any new sensations that you feel at that right hip before you extend the leg out. And you're welcome to be still or wave into the feet. What do you notice about the right side of the hip? Maybe your leg feels a bit longer. when you're ready, let's bend into the knees and we'll take our left leg up. Holding the back of the thigh again, we're going to bend and extend. Just doing the same thing that we did on this side, or on the other side. So focusing on your left leg, notice what it feels like to extend the leg. Bend the knee. What do you feel change at your hamstrings, your knee or your thigh? Any shakes or jumps there? Do you notice the point where there's maybe a bit of extra effort to extend the leg and you may press into that, you may not? Just notice what it feels like to be in your body, being curious, explorative. But don't push past through any pain. And taking your time, we'll hug that left leg in, slide that right leg out, and then place your left foot beside that right leg. Right hand onto the right side of hip, left hand at the hip crease, and using your fingertips to notice what information do you receive. When you're ready, exhale, we draw the knee out. And inhale, you might draw the knee back to center. Or you might choose the other way that we did on the other side, just finding a breath pattern that suits you. Again, noticing when that right hip wants to lift, and can we just move in the range where we're keeping that right hip down. Just notice what that feels like. Any jumps or shakes. And the invite for this somatic yoga practice is to slow down and be curious. Notice the information that you receive. What do you feel at the left fingertips? Any jump shakes? Where do you feel that point of stretch? And when you get to that point of where you feel that stretch as the knee draws out, that left knee, we're going to pause there and then bring it just before that stretch, so bringing the knee a bit slightly back to center, and gently pulse around that area. So small little movements. And just notice what you feel. It could feel very different to the other side. Make sure you're not holding your breath. And the next time that you exhale, you're going to slowly draw that knee all the way out to the side. Notice where that is for you and how that feels. And then slowly slide that leg to extend out. And maybe your eyes are open or closed, maybe you choose to move or be still. What do you feel at the hips now? Moment of observation. And when you're ready, take your time to collect the knees in, where you might circle into the hips, noticing how that feels. You might rock side to side, circle the knees. And when you're ready, we'll roll over to one side using a guiding hand to help you come up to seated. And as you come up to seated, maybe just notice what it feels like to be seated in your hips. Have a little circle round. And finding that comfortable seat where you might choose to sit on a block or a cushion, we'll move into the shoulders. You notice how your shoulders feel. Is there perhaps one shoulder that feels more tense or higher up, stiff? And if you do notice that, we're going to go with your less tense side first. If you do have a current or old injury, let's go with your non-injured side first. And remember that when we're doing the pendiculation, is that we don't want to push through any pain. We want to still make sure that it feels comfortable, a gentle discomfort. So I'm going to go with my left shoulder first. That's my less tense side. And feel free to use your other hand to give you feedback. Notice any tension that you feel there. And again, you're welcome to close your eyes. As you inhale, we're going to draw that shoulder up. Make sure that you're not pushing through your hand or tensing your elbow. The lift is coming from your shoulder. Notice what you feel at that hand, shoulder. And then as you exhale, you're going to start that descend as you slowly release the shoulder, controlling as you resist gravity. Breathe as you need to. When the shoulder lands, just take a moment to notice. Have you landed that as much as you can? So pendiculation is the practice to reset resting tension. So to do that, we need to explore what it feels like to let go completely. When you do that 2 more times, go at your own pace. Inhale as you draw the shoulder up, feel tension. Doesn't have to go very high, and make sure that you're not pushing into pain. Exhale, start that descend, but breathe as you need to as you release that shoulder. And releasing, noticing any shakes or jumps. And have you released all the way and completely? Going for one more in your own pace. Noticing any jumps or shakes, a sign of chronic tension held in these areas as we've lost voluntary control over these movements. Make sure you're not holding your breath, and when you've landed, land completely. Use your hands if you wanted to notice anything different. Release the hand, notice how your shoulder feels. You're welcome to move gently if that feels good for you or allows you to connect into your body. When you're ready, let's explore your other side. And if this is your more tense side, you might notice that already, noticing the resting tension in your shoulder. You're welcome to use your hand for feedback. As you inhale, you start that increase of tension, shoulder draws up. As you exhale, you start that descend. Go slowly, breathe as you need to, notice any shakes or jumps. And if this is your more tense shoulder, you might notice, like my shoulder is, the more jumpy, more shaky, perhaps feeling less control. But again, just notice what your experience is. And make sure when you have landed that shoulder, have you landed it as much as you can. Notice any tension in the elbows, hands. Breathe. Use your breath to help you release. We're going to do 2 more in your own pace. Breathe as you need to. Try not to hold your breath. When you've landed and landed completely, take a moment to check in with your shoulder, whether you're using your hands, releasing the hand, being still or moving into the shoulder, however and whichever allows you to connect into your body. Notice anything new or different about your shoulders. When you feel ready to join in, tilting the head to one side, deep breath in. Exhale, chin rolls down, round, head tilts to the other side, breath in. Exhale, chin rolls down and round. And just taking your time to explore that in your own pace. Notice what that feels like to move into your shoulders, your neck, jaw, cheeks. Maybe feel into your back. Notice as you curiously observe your body, what do you feel? The next time that you exhale, we'll tuck the chin in and feel free to reach those arms forward where you might interlock the fingers. Have a little sway there if that feels good. A little shuffle. Inhale, we're going to reach those arms up. Exhale, elbows bend, cactus arms. Breath in. Exhale, curl, reach the arms forward. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, cactus arms. Breath in. Exhale, curl. Inhale, reach. Exhale, cactus arms. Breath in. Then you're welcome to explore one more go at your own pace. And when that feels complete, give that a shake out. And then I'll meet you in all fours tabletop, where we're going to explore cat and cow, or arch and curl. Spreading the fingertips into the floor. Knees might be placed underneath the hips. Inhale, we're going to lift the tailbone, belly dip to the floor. Arch into your back as you pull the shoulder blades back. Exhale, tuck up the chin. You might push through the hands, draw the belly button in, scoop the tailbone under. And you're invited to do that in your own pace, so it could be movement with your breath. What does it feel like to arch and curl? What does it feel like to move in your spine? Or you might start to just breathe as you need to, exploring that, adding any shifts or shuffles. It doesn't matter what it looks like, it's more about what does that feel like to move in your body. Connect to your interoception, your felt sense experience. What does it feel like to be in your body? And not sure is part of a learning process. And we'll take last couple of breaths there, exploring whatever feels good to move and be in your own pace. Nice, and then when you're ready, well, let's come back round. So lay on your back. Coming into recline, you might want to take the feet out mat width, the windscreen wipe the legs, stretch the arms on out. You might want to hug the knees in, circling into the knees or into the hips. Taking your time as you guide your feet to the ground and place a hand onto the belly, the chest, or the diaphragm and belly. Take a deep breath in and out, and just noticing maybe the change of your breath. Is there more ease? Is there more space? Is there less effort to breathe in, breathe out? How do your shoulders land here? We'll do one more pendiculation exercise here, where we'll take both arms to reach up, palms facing towards each other.
The knees are bent here, feet onto the floor. As you breathe in, we're going to reach those fingertips up, extend into the arms. And you might find your abdominals tighten, feeling that lift of the back of the shoulders. Notice the tension at the front of the chest. Then as you next exhale, we're going to start to soften into the fingertips, wrist, elbows, let the arms feel heavy. Start to land the back of the shoulders down as you bend into the elbows as much as you need to. Resting as much as you can as you land the back of the shoulders down. Notice what that, as much as you can rest, as much as you can release position feels like. Notice if this changes. We're going to do 2 more. Inhale to reach. So extend into the arms. Feel the tension as you reach up. Tension at chest, neck, abdominals. The back of the shoulders lift. Exhale, you're going to start that descend. And breathe as you need to as you soften into the hands, wrist, elbow. The back of the shoulders starting to land down and arms feel heavy in the air. So you feel that you've landed those as much as you can, releasing the tension at the chest. Noticing any shakes or jumps whilst you're releasing. And the last one, inhale to reach up. Exhale, slowly start to descend. Breathe as you need to. Notice those shakes or jumps. Arms feel heavy in the air, and on this last one, take a deep breath in and then slowly start to land those arms out to the side. Notice any shakes or jumps as you release the hands down by the side onto the ground. Release completely. Notice any new sensations at your back of shoulders, chest. Slide the legs out, feel free to prop them on any cushions. Take any movement, adjustments before you're ready to come into our final observation. Back into Shavasana. Notice what feels different, what has changed from when we first arrived. Check in with your head. Does that land or lay differently? Neck, shoulders, arms, hands. How does the back feel lay on the ground? The hips feel. Is there more ease with your breath, movement at belly, chest? Feel free to place your hands there if that gives you that connection and feedback. Your legs all the way down to your feet, how do they feel? Does one foot feel more turned out than the other, or about the same? Notice with curiosity the information that you receive about your body. And perhaps if your eyes are closed, you might open them, just seeing where you are in the room. Feeling your body on the ground. Wriggling fingers, wriggling toes, and feel free to take a full body stretch. Gently take your time to collect the knees in and roll over to the side. Go gently in your own pace. Use a guiding hand to come up to seated. Finding a comfortable seat. And take a few moments to calibrate the experience of gravity as you come up to seated.
Notice how it feels to come into seated, your breath. You might place a hand onto the chest, onto the belly. And we'll take 3 conscious breaths here, with eyes open or closed, entirely up to you. Feeling the belly, chest expand, maybe even feeling the shoulders move. When you feel that you've finished those 3 breaths and that feels complete, you might shift side to side, feeling the weight of your hips into the ground. You might bring those fingertips to the floor. As you sway, you might press into one hand or fingertips and then the other, just feeling the ground beneath you. Next inhale, whether your eyes are open or closed, we'll inhale, stretch the arms up, palms together, exhale, hands down through center. Namaste. Thank you for joining practice, and hopefully you are noticing that connection into your body, whatever that experience is. Honor that.